Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, I'm not sure how I'm going to organize this in terms of how I want to talk about playing tournament games and all these playoffs. But what I can say is just looking ahead at the Philly versus Toronto matchup, I have a few things to say about that matchup because I do not like it for Philadelphia at all, especially without Matisse Thybulle being able to play on the road in Toronto. It's a 4-5 matchup, and Philly does have home court. It is so important that Philadelphia win at least one of those first two games. They cannot afford to go down 0-2 at home, and I'm telling you right now, this matchup is not good for them. Tyrese Maxey is in a good situation. I think this is a matchup where he could flourish rather, but he's going to have to come at them in a flurry, in a hurry, because the thing about it is, Scotty, he is such a headache defensively that you're gonna need Matisse Thybulle to be able to put some pressure on them in that same way every night. Joel Embiid is gonna get his regardless. You can count him in for some of the best numbers you ever seen in your life. But the problem is Pascal Siakam is playing at an extremely high level as well. Fred VanVleet is playing at an extremely high level. You got to deal with Gary Trent, who's shooting the ball like a madman, who's healthy again, playing defense crazy as well. You got to also deal with some of the size that they have down there with Boucher and people like that, people like Birch. It's a lot, man. They have a lot now. OG Anunoby's back from injury. They have too many weapons. That's what it really comes down to. And then you have a Philadelphia team who's having issues with their offense because they still haven't adjusted to the changes that they've made. And then you couple that with the fact that they're lacking in size. When Joel sits down, they're going to need him to play so many minutes. This is, even if they win this series, this is the wrong matchup to catch in the first round if you're trying to win a championship, because it's a bad matchup for you. And Toronto has so many athletes that play both sides. It's not like you're going to be able to chill on either side of the floor. You know, they're going to make you work on the offensive end with their shooters, the way they spread the floor, the way they attack. And then on the defensive end, you got to deal with so many forwards and so many long, lengthy players that are active defensively. And then you got to understand that Fred VanVleet, an NBA champion, and as are the rest of these guys, well coached, having won a championship already, having beat you guys to get there. I mean, it's just so many different things that is working against Philadelphia in this series. You have to understand that James Harden is going to be asked to run with this Toronto team. And they're going to be bumping him and pushing him around. He's going to have to shoot well. That's what it really comes down to. He can't have no 7 for 30 nights. That's not going to work, especially if he wants to take that many shots. They're going to need to lean on Joel Embiid offensively and do their very best to put as much pressure on the Toronto Raptors on the defensive end as possible. Guys like Tobias Harris need to be active defensively. It's going to be very important, especially if Thybulle's not going to be there on the road. It's going to be a very tough series for them. You know, the only way I really see it winning is if all of those players score to their highest potential. Maxey, Harris, Embiid, and Harden have to be on a string working together. If it's Harden ball, they're going home early. It could be as bad as a sweep if they get caught up in Harden ball. That's not going to work. They have to run things through Joel Embiid like they did in the first half of the season, and they're going to need to hit shots. They're going to need to hit shots. Guys like Danny Green, you know what I mean? I look at some of those guys on the back of the bench, Korkmaz, they're going to be important. Shake Milton, very important in this series. They're going to have a good series, because if those guys are going for offers, it's night-night. And the thing about it is, it might not be under their control, because they're going to have those defensive players who are going to be forcing them into mistakes. So, as far as I'm concerned, unless Joel Embiid can just force his will, MVP style, to just will them overwhelmingly, or James Harden, one or the other, which I don't want them to run things through James Harden, to be honest with you, because I think that doesn't work to their strengths. It's tricky. That is the conundrum. And then you couple that with Doc Rivers and some of his issues in the playoffs, and then you look over and you see who that is, Nick Nurse, Well, you know, and how he moves and how he strategizes in the playoffs, it's like, yo, Philly. I would be very surprised if the pundits pick Philly to win the series because I'm certainly not. I don't see it. But a lot will be determined how they start the series. If they can get out and get those first two games at home, things will look real good for them. But if they drop one of the first two games, or if they drop both of those two games, I don't like their situation without Matisse. I don't know how strong he feels. Obviously, he hasn't taken the vax, but he is needed in this series. Point blank. Period. They can't win it without him. They can't win without him. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. Um, yeah, yeah. James Harden, he's gonna be attacked. Obviously he's gonna have to get to the line like he usually does. Try to get those forwards in foul trouble and understand they're gonna keep coming. Even if you get a couple of them in foul trouble, here comes Thaddeus Young, here comes Watabi. Like you got to deal with these dudes. So I don't know. I don't like it. It's too much length. It's too many different players that have played in championship situations. Um, you know, they don't have Kawhi no more, but you got to understand they've made up for that by bringing in several different players. One being Trent, who's putting up dang near 30 a night himself. I mean, OG Anunoby, you forget this dude is a star level player at this point, going into something else. He could be a player who makes an all-star team at some point. And he hasn't even played for the team for the last basically a month, and he's back. So it's like, I don't, no Pascal putting up triple doubles and stuff. Van Fleet could go for 40 at any moment. No. I know a lot of people like the way Philly looks, the glitz and glamour of the Philadelphia team, and the fact they have these big names. But I'm telling you, this is a horrible, horrible matchup for them. It's one of the worst. They should have tried to avoid this team. And I think, when we look back on this series, if they do win the series, I will say it will be because superstars found a way to make it happen. Tyrese Maxey's going to step into superstardom right now in order for that to happen. He's going to have some big games. And look, I'm of the mindset, after watching the Lakers, you guys, I'm going to be honest with you. After watching Russell Westbrook, I am truly of the mindset of certain vets that we've been watching for a million years. If they're struggling, you got to sit them. And this is going to be that kind of series. Because Joel Embiid is way too great of a player and playing too great right now. And you guys have won too much without James Harden to get to this point and live and die on the James Harden train. Absolutely not. If he's a offer, I would sit him because you got enough offensive talent. The Cork Mosses and the Shake Miltons and the obviously Maxey, Tobias Harris. Those guys are better when they get more shots. So if James Harden's taking shots away from them and he doesn't want to play facilitator role, no. Run things through Embiid, inside out, like you've always been doing it. And I think that's your best chance of beating this team. But them first two games are so important. So important. And understand this, Scotty Barnes is everywhere, all the time. And that's it. He's young. He's in fantastic shape. He's got all the skills in the world. That team passes the ball like crazy. I personally think that team could get well into these playoffs. I don't want to say something that's crazy because it depends on matchups. But I certainly don't see them going home in this round. Not against this Philly team. This is a great matchup for them. So it is what it is, man. Good luck. You run into a team that's getting everybody back at the right time, Philly. So it is what it is, man. That trade, I said the trade, I don't think they won that trade because at the end of the day, they depleted themselves of a lot of what they need to compete in these playoffs. And while I do think they're ultimately a better team with James Harden, I don't know how you can supplement the fact that they've lost a lot of weapons. You're going to need a guy like Curry in this series. A guy like Drummond takes a lot of pressure off of Embiid. If he gets in foul trouble, you still have some size. Embiid gets in foul trouble in this series, it's night-night. It's over. Your guards are not going to outrun their guards and forwards. It's not happening. So that's how that's going to go. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I've been watching a lot of basketball in my life, and I know a bad matchup when I see one. This is that. My name is BDF44. I thank y'all for watching, and I'm out.